Hey guys, I just want to bring up an opportunity for resource investors. If you want to rub elbows with the big wigs and talk to companies directly that are handpicked by Rick Rule, well, you got to be in Boca Raton from July 7th to 11th for the Rick Rule Symposium. The event has become a premier event in the mining space, and they're going to have some pretty big speakers like Robert Friedland, Sean Ruzin, and the great Rick Rule. And also, we're going to be there. You can meet the deep dive team in person. So if you're interested in rubbing elbow with some of the biggest heavy hitters in junior mining, check out the link below. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm chatting with Leigh Curyer from NexGen Energy. In this interview, we discuss Biden recently signing into law a Russian uranium ban and the impact that that could have on the uranium markets. And we also discuss how NexGen Energy recently purchased 2.7 million pounds of uranium with a $250 million convertible debt deal with MMCap and what the thought process was for the company in doing this deal. We also discuss how NexGen Energy submitted their final responses for the federal environmental assessment for the Rook project. And Leigh also gives us an update of what we should be watching out for the remainder of 2024. Guys, if you're new to this story or new to uranium investing, NexGen is the company you have to be watching. They are the big kahuna of projects that are going to be coming online over the next, say, 5 to 10 years. And the project that NexGen has is gigantic. It could have a serious material impact on supply for the uranium market. And the timing of which it comes online is really important if you are trying to follow the supply and demand characteristics of uranium. All right, everybody, enjoy the interview. Leigh, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be on the show.
So there's a lot that's happened since we last spoke. Let's start off with some of the general news and get your thoughts on that. We have President Biden announced a Russian uranium ban, which was signed into law, which will take effect about 90 days. We've seen some slight reaction from Russia, where NXE, a subsidiary of Rosatom, has demanded that customers get waivers to new rules within the next 60 days. Do you think that we're going to get more retaliation from Russia? What do you think Russia can actually do next if they don't really like what's happening here?
Well, Steve, we're entering into a whole new era with respect to the uranium market. It was already under significant demand and supply pressure. Previously on the show, I've spoken about the fragility of supply, particularly in the Western world. When you consider the US consume 50 million pounds per annum, yet produce less than 1 million pounds domestically, it shows their reliance on external sources is very high. And in 2023, that was around 45% of their imports were from Russia. This ban that's been written into law and will be in effect within 90 days has just sent this whole market into a whole new era. And NXE immediately came out with, as you said, demanding waivers are issued under those contracts. That'll be up to the US government to determine whether those waivers are justified or not. I think the overall takeaway is that the security of supply around a lot of the Western world's fuel at the moment is very, very fragile, and we're on the back of also historically low inventory levels by the Western world producers as well. A very tight spot market where we see 100,000 pounds purchased by Sprott results in a $1.50 plus movement in the spot price. Utilities are asking themselves, where are we going to have our uranium come from, particularly 2028 and beyond, when the waivers, when the Russian ban becomes in full effect, because it's been phased in over 24 to 2028. And so we've got a contracting period that for 2028 and beyond, which is currently right upon us now. And I think you're going to see more movement in utilities looking to get greater comfort around future supplies, particularly from Western world sources.
Do you think it's priced in yet? What's happened with Russia, or do you think that the market still hasn't really woken up to exactly what's happened here?
I personally don't believe it's been priced in. and I think we're still in the very, very early stages of full realization with respect to this impact. And look, I started in 2002. I lived through 04 to 08, where there was a security of supply issue, and the price went from $7 a pound to $136 a pound within 4 years. I think this is even more significant, and the big difference is we don't have the top 5 mines in the world with all healthy lives ahead of them, as we did back in 08 when the price got to 136. So $136 today, price adjusted, is about $205 a pound US. And I think there's a reality coming that prices are going significantly higher from where they are today, and will likely set new records.
Okay, let's talk about NexGen. This week, you guys indicated that the company has submitted the final responses to the federal environmental assessment. What can you tell us here?
Yes, we've resubmitted 49 aspects to close out with the CNSC. We previously submitted 277 or answered 277 questions, which the CNSC gave us. We responded. Within 90 days, they came back and they said they would like to greater clarity around the remaining 49. We have completed that. It involves updating the EIS and ensuring that these aspects are closed out. And so we submitted those today, and then the 90-day period starts again. And so we are targeting or have the objective that at the end of that 90-day period, that the EIS, we will have successfully answered those 49 questions to the satisfaction of the regulators, and we have our environmental impact study deemed final. At that point, the CNSC will determine a federal hearing date, and then the process will go through the hearing and then subsequent approval. So big date coming up, 90 days from now. We're looking to have this EIS concluded, and then immediately after a commission hearing date. And we have all 4 communities in our project area very, very enthusiastically seeking finalisation of this process with the CNSC. They have signed off on all of the responses that we've given the CNSC formally. So there's a lot of eyes, a lot of stakeholders focus on the CNSC completing their role. We respect every question and obviously the role the CNSC has to play, and we're not looking for shortcuts or anything. We are looking for this process, which has been incredibly rigorous, to conclude at the end of this 90-day period.
Leigh, I know that you probably can't give us as transparent of an answer as we'd like to this question, but I have to ask, when dealing with the various bureaucrats with the government or the regulators, do you have any sense of how much of a sense they have of how important the Rook project is for the future of utility companies and just general clean energy for the Western world?
Well, yeah, I would certainly hope so. Look, they're very professional, and we've had a fantastic experience with them. You're absolutely right. This project is absolutely critical and will impact many, many thousands of people and populations around the world of other countries. The CNSC have an enormous responsibility, given the gravity of that impact of the Rook 1 project and NexGen taking it into construction. And all I could say is I sincerely hope they do understand. Now, their job is to assess the EIS on its merits and put that to one side about its impact. But look, hearing from the federal government of Canada that they want to lead the world in the development of new nuclear projects, accelerate approval of nuclear projects. I think our project's probably near the top of that list, frankly, with the Canadian government. I think it's all very, very positive signs that the federal government understand the importance of it. They've reflected that, and I would say that does impact the CNSC in the same way. That this project's approval and timeline is very, very critical to many populations around the world.
So let's also get to the really big news you guys announced recently since we last spoke, which is that you guys purchased 2.7 million pounds of physical uranium, took on $250 million in debt with MMCap to do it. What's the thought process here?
Yeah, look, it's a function of taking a uranium mine into production. We are negotiating offtake arrangements for 2028 and beyond now. That is the contracting cycle that's been publicized with the various uranium market observers. And with a startup, when dealing with nuclear fuel, because it's such a key component of the reactors, utilities want comfort around and assurity around supply around those timelines. And so we have strategically purchased 2.7 million pounds in order to provide effectively insurance policy for the utilities that they can rely on that delivery and enter into those contracts. And so it's very consistent with what the other uranium developers and startups at Boss Energy and Denison have done. And it's really a function you're dealing with nuclear fuel, which the utilities are relying on. Like if there's a miss in terms of time, or one of their other producers hasn't delivered under contract, and I mentioned earlier, inventory levels from the majors around the world are at historically low levels. They used to run on any given day over a year's production on hand. They're now under 3 months. Spot market is incredibly tight. This assurity of supply is very, very important to them. And so we purchased a small amount, which we're happy with, in order to just provide a bit of comfort to the utilities to enter into the contracts and to avoid any timing that may arise.
How'd the deal come about? Did you guys have like an advisor who set you guys up, or are you close with MMCap? Who reached out to who?
Yeah, we've been looking very, very strategically amongst a number of sources, and we knew that a number of financials had pounds on hand, and so no prior relationship with MMCap in any manner or form, and so we'd been in dialogue on and off for about the last 3 to 6 months, and then concluded a transaction for 2.7 million pounds. Now, we purchased that at $1.35 below spot at the time of announcement. And if we were to acquire that on the open market, well, we would have pushed the price through about $120 a pound US. So, it's been incredibly well purchased, very cost efficiently purchased in light of the market. And we issued a convertible at a 30% premium to our 5-day VWAP. So we have issued also, or paid for it on very, very good terms at the same time in an instrument that we're very familiar with. We've done it with Leigh Curyer in 2016 and 2017. We've done it with Queen's Road Capital in 2020, and more recently with Sol Patterson's. And so it's an instrument that we're very familiar with, have executed very successfully in the past. And we now have just under $1 billion Canadian, approximately 930 million Canadian, which is a significant component of the capital cost of the Rook I project. And so as we approach what will be one of our biggest milestones in receiving a federal approval, we're doing so without the advent of, well, now you need to raise money. We had the money in place already. So I think that's really good news for investors. Whilst it was a bit surprising to some in terms of the timing, I respect that. But we're not in a position to go out and flag that we're looking for 2.7 million pounds, because it would have been front run and it would have been to a disservice to the shareholders. So I'm really, really pumped. The board's pumped. Our major shareholders are really, really pleased with the deal, and we're moving forward at a rate of knots.
I'm curious, how expensive is it to store uranium? Like, is that? I imagine that there's only a couple companies in the world who sort of do this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's mainly stored at the conversion facilities in drums. Okay. There is a cost to it, but it's very, very immaterial in light of the value of the pounds that you're holding.
Okay. Last question for you here. You've been generous with your time. The remainder of 2024, anything we should be watching out for over the next few months?
Yeah, well, 90 days from now, we will be looking to hear from the CNSC on these 49 questions, a hugely pivotal moment in the company's whole progress. Our sustainability report will be issued shortly and really just does showcase the environmental, social and governance performance of our project and our approach to the communities, which is, industry leading. Our exploration program for summer of 2024 is about to commence as well, and there will be a press release about that shortly with the results from the winter program. And as you know, we just made a new discovery 3.5 kilometers east of Arrow in an entirely new conductor corridor. And so highly exciting. Had very, very strong signatures similar to the early holes at Arrow. And we know a significant mineralizing event has gone through that conductor. So we're drilling. We're about to commence. And when you're drilling, it's very, very exciting. We're running that in parallel to the permitting, the final detailed design, and putting down long lead time items or deposits on long lead time items, which we'll be communicating through news releases imminently as well. So probably one of our busiest years news flow wise. And everyone's working extremely hard to deliver all of these objectives.
Leigh, thanks so much for hopping on here today. The last time we had you on, our audience absolutely loved it, and we really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Well, Steve, I absolutely endorse your platform and always enjoy speaking with you, and look forward to speaking with you again in the very near future, just as we approach the 90-day period.
Thanks, Leigh.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this interview, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, let us know what you think in the comment section. Thanks, everyone.